Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a nice day. Welcome to the Flatlay Fragrance channel. I'm Trish and I love all things fine and fragrant. Hi everyone and Happy New Year! I hope you're starting the year gently, no pressure, just good vibes. If you've been around here for a while, you know I have a little tradition of kicking off the year with something vintage. There's just something magical about fragrance history and old perfume houses that feels comforting and inspiring at the same time. And honestly, they deserve more love than they get online. Today, I'm sharing 6 French fragrance houses that once thrived, disappeared for a bit, and have since made a comeback. They've revived their most iconic scents, some refreshed for modern times, but many still hold on to the charm and soul of their past. Quick note before we start, this video is not sponsored. Everything you'll hear is based on my own thoughts and research. Let's get into it. Bien-Aimé begins with one of the perfumery's great craftsmen, Robert Bien-Aimé, a Paris-based perfumer who served as the in-house nose at the legendary fragrance house Houbigant and is the nose behind the brand's Quelques Fleurs, before launching his own house in 1935 in Paris, France. His goal was refinement over excess, elegant compositions that felt intimate rather than overpowering, very much aligned with pre-war French tastes. A contemporary of the great names in perfumery, he was also an expert in cosmetology and developed some very promising cream formulas. Bien-Aimé products were admired for their quality and craftsmanship, but after Robert Bien-Aimé's death and with the disruption of the World War II and shifting post-war consumer trends, the house quietly disappeared by the 1960s. Decades later, the brand was rediscovered by fragrance collector and creative director Cecilia Margui, whose lifelong passion for Art Deco led her to uncover a refillable Bien-Aimé powder case on an online flea market. Intrigued by its beautifully sustainable design, she researched the forgotten history of the house and ultimately acquired the brand in 2019. Bien-Aimé was officially relaunched in 2021 with production kept entirely in France and guided by a vision that blends environmental responsibility with Art Deco elegance. Some of Bien-Aimé's best sellers include Vermeil, a fragrance for women which smells soft, powdery, and elegantly musky with a delicate floral veil that feels intimate and vintage leaning rather than sweet. For men, Monsieur smells clean and refined with a classic barbershop freshness that settles into smooth, dry woods. Chérigan was originally established in 1929, founded in Paris, France by a discreet French family who preferred to remain behind the scenes, which is why the house was often described as a hush-hush brand. Although some sources point to a Czech immigrant, Ota Polacek, as the founder working behind the name. The first boutique opened on the Champs-Élysées, and shortly after, a second store followed in Havana, Cuba, an unusually international move at the time that quickly made Chérigan popular among jet-setters and celebrities moving between Europe and the Americas. Rooted in the glamour of interwar Paris during the height of the Art Deco era, Chérigan reflected a time when perfumery was bold, expressive, and closely tied to fashion, nightlife, and Broadway. The house became known for sensual, slightly daring compositions and developed a reputation as a discreet VIP brand worn by those who made Montparnasse and Montmartre their playground. The brand rose quickly in popularity, but eventually became lost in the twists of commercial exploitation and changing tastes, quietly fading into obscurity. Decades later, Chérigan was rediscovered by perfume expert and collector Luc Gabriel, who uncovered the brand's archives and trademarks around 2016 and began restoring the house with care. By 2021, Chérigan was officially relaunched in Paris, guided by a vision that blends archival inspiration with modern composition. Best known for unisex fragrances, Chérigan's bestsellers include Fleur de Tabac, a warm, enveloping unisex fragrance where honey tobacco meets soft florals, creating a cozy, candlelit lounge kind of mood. Another standout is Bleu Imperial, which blends smoky woods and gentle spices with subtle freshness for a confident classic feel. Officine Universelle Bully has one of the oldest and most theatrical stories in French perfumery. It began in Paris, France in 1803 when Jean-Vincent Bully founded an apothecary specializing in perfume vinegars and beauty treatments, a revolutionary idea at a time when water-based hygiene wasn't yet common. His Vinaigrette de Toilette became popular as an odor-fighting fragrance during a period when soap and water weren't widely accessible, and it quickly became a staple among Paris's fashionable elite. Bully was both an innovator and a preserver of tradition, but as the industrial era progressed, the brand couldn't keep up with the rise of mass-market beauty and eventually disappeared in the 19th century. The name stayed dormant for nearly 2 centuries. Then in 2014, creative entrepreneurs Ramdam Touahmi and Victor de Taillac Touahmi revived the house with obsessive attention to historical detail, from typography to formulations, drawing deeply from ancient beauty practices. The revival was so striking that British Vogue later called it Paris's new beauty hero. Some of the brand's bestsellers include Eau Triple Bercan Orange Blossom, a fresh luminous orange blossom scent with gentle green and musky facets, and Eau Triple Madagascar Amber, a warm amber composition with smooth resinous notes and subtle sweetness, creating a soft, comforting trail. Maison Violet was founded in 1827 in Paris, France by François-Étienne Violet as Parfumerie Violet, and quickly gained prominence, even supplying fragrances to Empress Eugénie, wife of Napoleon III. In 1858, the boutique adopted the name à la Reine des Abeilles, or to the Queen of Bees Maison Violet, to honor the Empress and assert its prestige. The work of Louis Clé, then director, was distinguished at the 1867 Universal Exposition, and by his death, Violet ranked among the 10 largest French perfume houses. In 1885, Aaron Marantz, a Jewish industrialist, became head of the company, taking it public and expanding into export markets, from the United States to England, Russia, Germany, Spain, and Portugal. But wars and economic upheavals changed everything. The 2 world wars, the 1929 Wall Street crash, and tensions with a U.S. partner led to Maison Violet exiting America. In France, under the Vichy regime, an authoritarian French government that collaborated with Nazi Germany during World War II, Aryanization laws stripped Jewish citizens of property and businesses, and the paper trail nearly disappears. The Rans family did regain the house after the war, but it never returned to its former glory. The modern revival began in 2016, led by 3 young French perfume professionals, Anthony Toulemont, Paul Richardot, and Victorien Sirot, who discovered a passion for historical perfumery. By 2018, they officially relaunched the house with retro-modern creations that capture the poetic soul of the past while remaining wearable today. Some of the brand's bestsellers include Un Air d'Apogée, a soft, romantic floral leather that evokes vintage elegance, and Tanagra, a warm, sensual scent blending amber, woods, and subtle spices for a rich, comforting depth. Isabey emerged in the heart of the Roaring Twenties, capturing the era's spirit of modernity and quiet seduction. The house was founded in 1924 in Paris, France by Baron Henry James de Rothschild, a doctor, playwright, and patron of science who believed perfume could subtly shape the world, much like the scientific work he supported, including that of Pierre and Marie Curie. The name Isabey was chosen in tribute to the painter Jean-Baptiste Isabey, reflecting the brand's artistic soul. From the start, Isabey made a statement, debuting its first collection in 1925 at the International Exhibition of Modern Decorative Arts, where its refined fragrances and jewel-like bottles earned a gold medal. Like many historic perfume houses, Isabey disappeared during World War II, vanishing in 1944 as war swept across Europe. For decades, the brand remained dormant until 1999, when the Parisian house Panurge Group acquired the name and brought it back from the faded pages of history. In restoring Isabey, Panurge looked closely at the house's heritage, carefully reconstructing not just the perfumes but also the flacons and packaging with deep respect to the original designs. Isabey's creative director Rania Naim continues to honor these traditions, creating tactile, eye-catching designs that nod to the glamour of the 1920s while feeling modern and refined. Some of the brand's bestsellers include Tundra Nuit, a soft floral amber composition, and Pranois, a warm oriental floral built around amber and spice. Both fragrances have earned recognition as the best niche perfumes by Fragrantica's esteemed editors-in-chief. Founded in 18th century Paris, France, Maison Durand traces its roots to the beauty brand Farouche et Blonde, acquired by the influential theater actress and entrepreneur Marguerite Brunet or Mademoiselle Montansier, who opened a boutique on Rue Grenée Saint-Lazare and elevated the house into high society. In 1780, the brand was appointed as official supplier to the court of Versailles by Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI, a mark of prestige that cemented its reputation among royalty, artists, and Parisian elites. The Maison later took the Durand name after the acquisition by Jean-Marie Durand in 1819, who modernized production and made easy-to-use and risk-free products, an innovation that helped make Durand Paris's leading makeup and perfume house by the late 19th century. International success followed when Durand became the preferred supplier to Parisian theater troupes, collaborated with artists such as Louis-Arsène Delaunay, and won major accolades at world fairs in Paris, Chicago, St. Louis, Liège, Brussels, and Strasbourg, earning gold medals and Grand Prix awards. By the 1920s to 30s, Durand was a worldwide success with pioneering lines for women and men before World War II shortages, shifting beauty trends, and the collapse of many historic houses led to decades of dormancy. The Maison was revived in 1998 when it was acquired by France Excellence led by Bashar Nasri, who relaunched Durand as a heritage luxury brand. Today, Maison Durand is based in Charoux with perfumes and cosmetics handmade in the Pays de la Loire, a private museum housing hundreds of archives and a renewed focus on its historic pillars, powders, compacts, lip products, and fine fragrances, reintroduced for modern collectors and niche perfume lovers. Some of the brand's bestsellers include Unir de Paris, a bright citrus floral and soft woods and musk in the dry down, and Dorina, a powdery floral centered on iris and violet with a warm, creamy base. And that wraps up today's little journey through vintage fragrance history. I hope this video inspired you to look twice at these revived houses and maybe spark some curiosity to explore beyond the usual perfume conversations we see online. If you've tried any of these fragrances or have a favorite vintage or heritage brand, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It truly means a lot. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, subscribe, or just come back for the next one. Until then, take things slowly, enjoy your scents, and remember, always test before you invest. And this advice goes beyond just perfumes. If you know, you know. See you in the next video.